Here's what nobody tells you about your worst days. They're not the problem. You are. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because somewhere along the way, you learned to fight the wrong battle. You've been trying to eliminate hard days, to outsmart them, outrun them, push through them until they disappear. But what if that's the very thing keeping you stuck? Most people spend their entire lives reacting to difficult days the same way, over and over, expecting a different result. They call it resilience. It isn't. Real resilience isn't about surviving hard days. It's about what you discover inside them. There are 3 mental moves that completely change how you experience your hardest moments. They're not complicated. They're not motivational fluff. But most people never discover even one. The question worth asking right now is this: what if you've been handling this completely wrong?
We all know the feeling. Everything goes wrong at once. The conversation that didn't land, the plan that fell apart, the exhaustion that hits before noon. And suddenly the whole world feels heavy. Not just inconvenient, heavy. Like you're carrying something you never agreed to carry. And the worst part isn't the day itself. It's the voice that shows up with it. The one that says, maybe this is just how things are for you. Maybe you're not built for this. We've all been there. And if you've ever wondered why hard days feel so disproportionately crushing, the answer isn't weakness. It's wiring. Your brain is designed to register negative experiences with roughly 3 times the intensity of positive ones. That's not a character flaw. That's neuroscience. The bad doesn't just feel louder, it actually is louder at a biological level. Which means the heaviness you feel on your hardest days isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that something is working exactly as designed. But here's what changes everything. Once you understand why hard days feel impossible, you stop being a passenger in them. And that shift starts with something most people completely overlook.
Here's the first shift, and it's going to feel wrong before it feels right. Stop trying to fix the day. Have you ever tried to force yourself out of a bad mood? Really tried, pushed against it, reasoned with it, demanded it leave. How did that go? Because here's what actually happens. The more energy you pour into fighting a hard day, the worse it gets. Not because life is being unfair, but because resistance burns the exact fuel you need to move through it. It's like quicksand. Every struggle pulls you deeper. Every attempt to force your way out costs you more than staying still would have. The shift isn't giving up. It's something far more intelligent than that. It's moving your question from, how do I fix this, to how do I move through this? One question fights the current. The other finds it. And when you stop wasting energy on resistance, something unexpected opens up, which is exactly where the second shift begins.
The second shift is about where your mind is pointing. When a hard day hits, most people get stuck in the middle distance, too close to the problem to see past it, too overwhelmed to take any meaningful action. You're thinking about everything at once, but acting on nothing. That's not stress. That's a Zoom problem. Research on cognitive overload shows the brain under pressure narrows its focus compulsively, locking you into a loop of spiraling thoughts with no exit. But here's what the people who handle hard days best understand. They're not tougher than you. They're better at choosing their lens. And there are only 2 moves worth making. Zoom out. Will this matter in 5 years? If not, release the grip. Or zoom in. What is the one next step available right now? Not tomorrow, not everything. One thing. The middle distance is where hard days swallow people whole. Choose your zoom deliberately, and they can't.
The third shift is the one that makes the other 2 real. On your hardest days, stop trying to win the day. Make it smaller. Most people on a difficult day are still holding themselves to a full capacity standard, the same goals, the same output, the same expectations, while running on empty. That's not discipline. That's self-sabotage dressed up as ambition. Here's your permission to lower the bar. Not permanently, just today. Drink a glass of water. Make your bed. Send one message you've been avoiding. These aren't consolation prizes. Each small completion triggers a genuine dopamine response, a neurochemical signal that tells your brain forward motion is possible. One small win doesn't feel like much, but it shifts your neurochemistry just enough to make the next hour survivable. And survivable hours stack. That's not a motivational metaphor. That's how emotional recovery actually works. Small is how you start moving again. And once you're moving, everything the first 2 shifts unlocked finally has somewhere to go. So here's what you now have that most people don't. 3 shifts, 1 system. When a hard day hits, and it will, you stop fighting it because resistance drains the energy you need to survive it. You choose your zoom because the middle distance is where overwhelm lives and clarity doesn't. And you make the day smaller because one real win changes your neurochemistry enough to make the next hour possible. That's it. Stop fighting. Choose your zoom. Make it smaller. Not 3 separate ideas. One continuous move, each shift activating the next. And here's what quietly happens when you practice this. You stop being someone who endures hard days and start being someone who understands them. That's the real transformation. Not that hard days disappear. They won't. But they lose their power to define you. The person who knows how to move through difficulty isn't just more resilient. They're fundamentally harder to break. If you're watching this on a hard day, I want you to know something. You didn't stumble onto this video by accident. Some part of you was already looking for a different way through. That matters. Hard days have a way of making us feel alone in them, like everyone else has figured something out that we somehow missed. They haven't. They're just further along in learning what you're learning right now. And that's what this channel is really about. Not motivation that fades by morning, but the kind of understanding that stays with you when things get difficult again. If something in this video shifted the way you see your hard days, share it with someone who might need it today. That's not a small thing. Sometimes the right idea at the right moment changes everything. You're not here to just survive the hard days. You're here to become someone they can't touch.